This is a lesson on 7.1 Matrix, Solar System Components. Now, what are the basic objects that make up our solar system? We'll start with the Sun. This is the center of our solar system. Orbiting around the Sun, there are 8 planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Around some of those planets are moons. Also orbiting through our solar system are comets, meteors, and asteroids. Now we're going to get into the characteristics of some of these objects, starting with the Sun. So the characteristics of the Sun are: it's Earth's nearest star. The diameter at the equator is 1,392,000 kilometers. It is the largest object in our solar system, although it is considered a medium-sized star. The Sun is 149,600,000 kilometers away from Earth. Because it's this distance, light takes 8 minutes to travel before it can reach Earth. Finally, light and heat come from something called nuclear fusion. And this is when atoms split within the Sun. Moving on to terrestrial planets. These are also the inner 4 planets. So they're the closest to the Sun. They include Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. Mercury is the closest to the Sun, while Earth is considered the third rock from the Sun. The core of all of these planets are made of iron. The surface of all of these planets are rocky. You'll also find craters on the surface of these planets. Below is a table. On this table, you will be able to compare diameters of these planets, and the diameters are taken at the equator. And you can also compare the number of moons that orbit around each of these planets. Some planets have 0 moons, others have 1 or 2 moons. Moving on to the gas giants. These are the outer 4 planets. They include Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Neptune is the furthest from the Sun. The surface of these planets are made out of gas, and they're very slushy. You can't stand on them due to the large gas atmosphere. I've also included a table that compares diameters at the equator and the number of moons that might be orbiting the planets. Look at how huge these planets are. Jupiter is 142,000 kilometers at the diameter. That's gigantic. And look, it has 63 moons orbiting around it. Now we're going to talk a little bit about Earth's moon. Earth's moon is considered a natural satellite, and all that means is it stays in orbit around a planet. That's what a satellite is. The diameter of the moon is small, especially compared to the Earth. It's 3,476 kilometers at the equator. This is a little bit more than 1/4 of Earth's diameter, so it's a little bit bigger than 1/4 of the size of Earth. The average distance from Earth to the moon is 384,000 kilometers. Sometimes it's closer, and sometimes it's further depending on its orbit. The surface of the moon is covered with dust and rock. You will not find water on the moon, and it does not have an atmosphere, so it doesn't have any air, carbon dioxide. It doesn't have gases being held in close to the surface. Because there's no atmosphere, the temperature varies greatly, anywhere from negative 172 degrees Celsius, which is way below freezing, and up to 114 degrees Celsius, which is way above boiling. The moon has 1/6 of Earth's gravity, and that's due to the fact that it's small and has a very small mass. Moving on to some other objects, such as comets, meteors, and asteroids. We'll start with comets. A lot of times people call them dirty snowballs. And this is because they're made of frozen gases, ice, and dust. There are two parts of a comet that you might need to know about. The first part is the coma. That's the head of the comet. And it's made of a cloud of dust and gas. There are also tails, which are made of dust and gas. And the tails are caused by the comet orbiting close to the sun. The tail of a comet is very, very long, millions of kilometers long. There are also meteors. This is what we call shooting stars. So shooting stars aren't stars at all, they're meteors. Meteors are space rock, and it's when space rock burns up. And this causes a streak of light. Believe it or not, these meteors are usually small. It's like as small as a grain of rice. Now, if you have a meteor that you found on Earth's surface, it's now called a meteorite. Next, we have asteroids. Asteroids are quite large. Sometimes they're called minor planets. They're just a little bit smaller than moons. They do come in many different sizes, so some of them are big, some of them are small. They're very irregular in shape, so they're not round like planets at all. Asteroids concentrate in a belt, and it's between Mars and Jupiter that they orbit. So you could see the picture to the right. You have the orbit of Mars, the orbit of Jupiter, and then you could see all these asteroids that are orbiting all together in what we call a belt, or the asteroid belt. In order to demonstrate your knowledge, I have a solar system note taker for you. You're going to be including the composition or characteristics and size of all the objects that we talked about: sun, planets, moon, comets, meteors, and asteroids. Good luck! This was a lesson on the 7.1 Solar System Components Matrix.